On today's episode, I'm going to dive into what is Waza Craft by Boss. You've probably seen the logo on some of their newer pedals. You've seen some other devices that say this, and it's a question that needs to be answered. And I'm willing to do that, so here we go. Waza is a Japanese term for art and craftsmanship, and Boss has created a subline within their series of effects, amplifiers, and other devices that carry this name. So when you see a pedal, you see Waza Craft, or you see an amp. That's what we're talking about today. On this episode, I'm going to take these new Waza Craft pedals and I'm going to shoot them out against the classic hard to find ones. We're going to see how they compare. We're going to listen to those mods, but I'm also going to use the tube amp expander. I don't have a Waza Craft amp yet. I'll get one, but I am going to place this after the amplifier of my Loud is More Good combo and before the speaker. So it's going to go in between, and that allows me to insert the power amp in here, giving my amp more volume than it naturally has, which is really, really amazing. And I'm going to use a reverb setting and a slap delay. So it's a really, really great unit. It deserves its own episode, but you are going to get to hear it a bit in this. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the switchback. I've used it on similar episodes. Basically, it's two send returns. When you see the green light on, that is the vintage original pedal. When I hit this switch, it'll go to red or back to green. However, the red is the new Waza Craft, so that allows me to play and switch back and forth. With that said, let's jump right in. First up, I want to make sure that these tuner pedals stack up to each other. I have a classic TU2. I think there's trillions of these across the earth. This is one of the most dependable tuners ever. There is a TU3. It's currently not in this room, but I am going to stack the Waza TU3 up against this guy. So you're going to see the TU2 and the TU3. Now this has some features like switchable buffer and all kinds of things. But really, we just need to know that it tunes. You ready? I'm going to add a little reverb from that amp expander just to liven this up. Wow, that was stunning. It took my breath away. Anyway, next up is the BD2 versus the BD2 Waza Craft. Now the BD2 is a big deal. It was the pedal that got me into pedals. My foot switch broke in one of these. I repaired it. I went down the rabbit hole. I used to use Keeley modified versions of this. It's a fantastic pedal. So here they come putting out a Waza Craft version. Now it has a custom mode. When you see a C switch on these, that's basically the mod that the engineers have done to the pedal. And what it does on this is it's kind of their own take, their own modification. Guys like me, Robert Keeley, Analog Man, we're all modding them, so why can't they? That's the point here. So when you switch over to C, you're going to hear a little bit of difference, more low end, a better mid-frequency focus, really great setting. But yeah, let's check it out. Those stacked up together, it's really, really cool because I actually think that the newer Waza Craft version, even in the stock standard mode, sounds a bit fuller, especially when I went to single note kind of stabs in that riff and those licks. I think it's due to the fact that all of these Waza pedals have a very, very upgraded buffer system in them. So as you know, Boss pedals, when they're off, it's actually non-true bypass going through a buffer. I'm a fan of the buffers, and I think that the classic buffers are fine, but I can really tell a difference here. It feels like it pushes the signal a little stronger, retaining more low end. So just a mental note there that I actually think the standard mode is more full, and some of you might actually prefer it. Next up is the CE2. So this is a classic Japanese-made silver screw. This is kind of the holy grail of analog chorus. So many pedals have come from this, and we have the Waza Craft version up against it. So I'm going to shoot these guys out. I'm going to walk through here. You have the standard version, and when you go to switch to the middle, it's basically the chorus from the CE1. So this predated this by a few years. This is the chorus that's in the jazz chorus amplifiers. And then when you go one more over, so it's a three-way switch, you have a vibrato mode. So I'm going to show that off. I'm also going to use a capo. There's a lot of capo hate nowadays. I saw some guys snarking on a forum or something, you know, saying you can't use a capo. I'm going to use a capo. Let's stop the capo hate. Every capo deserves a chance, okay? Every capo. Oh, and I forgot the Waza Craft version. It's actually stereo, and that's amazing. I didn't want to leave that out. Okay, moving on. Next up is the DM2. I'm a fan of this pedal. I have a lot of them, not enough of them. I definitely don't have a problem yet, but we're gonna shoot this out. I don't remember which one I even used, but here's why I'm showing all these, is because over the years, this thing came out in 81 through 84, so over the years there's a trim pod inside and it can get kind of messed with and it affects the delay time. So I found one that lined up best with the max delay of the new DM2 Waza Craft. But basically, I feel like this always has a little more delay time, even in the standard mode. So that's not a problem. So you're gonna notice the knob kind of backed up here, and I matched them up as well as I could. This guy, it's pretty crazy because even in the standard mode, it feels more full, and I think that's the buffer again. That's a good thing. It just retains more of your guitar signal in a really nice way. The custom mode lets you go up to 800 milliseconds, so I'll switch that on. And while you're watching this, I'm gonna go talk to my pedals, my DM2s, make sure they feel okay. Next up is the VB2 Vibrato versus the Waza Craft version. This is the one that I was most excited about, I am still most excited about, and the one that I love the most. because I've used this for years and years and they are so stinking expensive. And this is perfect. I love everything that they did here. They even added a depth expression control, which is awesome. You plug in an expression pedal, you can sweep it with your foot. Now the custom mode gives you more low end and a little more depth or warble to the vibrato, which is really nice. I just love the standard mode. I love the difference in the quality of the buffer as well. Huge, huge fan. Here you go, check it out. I have an early 80s classic that's still a hit today on many, many pro boards. It's the SD1 Super Overdrive. This is a screamer style circuit and it's really, really popular with rock and blues players. Now, the Waza Craft version stands up amazingly against the classic one that I have here. And then the custom mode is their modifications to their own circuit. So this is one that boutique guys like myself have modded over and over the years. And basically, when you click to that custom setting, you have more sustain, more low end, more mid-range focus. And I'm gonna use some slap delay from that amp expander. So let's do it. The Dimension C DC2, so the Waza Craft version. Obviously, this has some amazing updates to the classic. This was long discontinued and it's really cool to get this back. They added stereo and they have a toggle called SDD 320 because that's an old rack unit that Roland Boss had, and that is the original inspiration for the pedal. This kind of always simulated that rack unit, so they went a little bit further and replicated that in an even bigger way. It's a little more rich. Adding the stereo to it is phenomenal. I love setting 4. So that's what we're going to listen to, and I added some reverb from that amp expander, and it just spices it up just right. Love it. Love the color too. Every pedal should be this color. Every pedal. Last but definitely never ever least is the MT2 Metal Zone up against the Waza Metal Zone. You know, and you've heard me say it, the only thing better than a metal zone is another metal zone. And here we have that. Now, they have taken this classic design that I personally really think is great for high gain sounds, and they've added a custom mode. So once again, the metal zone has been modified over the years, so they went ahead and did their own mod. One cool feature of the custom mode is less background noise or hiss. It almost has a gate to it, which is really nice. More low end and more clarity. It's really great. And I think that as we listen to this, we need to think about something. We need to think as a people who stand together for rock and roll and everything that this pedal represents, and we need to make metal zones great again. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us. Let's do it. Today's record time is brought to you by 1997's Bob Dylan Time Out of Mind. This record is really, really special to me because my uncle gave it to me when I was a teenager. I had heard some of the older classic Dylan stuff from the 60s and I thought it was cool. But when I heard this, it blew my mind. The texture and the feel of the music and the way it was produced was brand new to me. So I find out the story. And basically, Dylan had kind of just fallen off the map. He's no longer popular, and he does this record and Daniel Lanois produces it. It's done really strange. Lanois did some things in the studio that no one else had really done with Dylan before, like bringing in multiple musicians for the same part, having them all play together so that no one was too busy. If you had a guitar in your hand, you had another guitar player next to you and you were trying to play everything down. And when they went and mixed it, they kind of pulled stuff out that they didn't want, and it makes these songs massive. They're very 3D. The organs are phenomenal. The drum tones, the guitars, the vocals, everything sits perfectly in the mix, and I love it. It won a Grammy for good reason, and it's one of my, if not my favorite Bob Dylan record. So in the comments below, I want you to go listen to this and tell me what you think about it. Some of you probably don't like Dylan, and I forgive you, and some of you love him, but let's talk about this record. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about all the aspects of it. And that's all for today on Record Time. Thanks so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've watched the show for any amount of time at all, you know that I'm a massive Boss nerd and geek and very, very proud of it. In the early days of the show, I did an episode called Boss is Best. It was really popular. If you haven't seen that, you need to go watch it because it pairs with this episode really nicely. If you have seen it, you need to go watch it again because it pairs with this episode really nicely. I'm gonna go watch it after this because I just want to watch it again. It's a really good one. Go check it out. I also want to give a shout out to Slow Gear Electronics. Go on to Instagram or just Google this and you'll see these really cool stands. They're made of plastic and it's what we use to hold up our Boss pedals. A little focus on that. Yeah, you put them on a bookshelf or on your amp like we're doing here. They actually screw into a surface, but they're amazing. They're really useful for what we're doing here, and I'm really, really glad he makes them. I also think if you're a nerd like me and you have a bunch of Boss pedals, you need to display them. You need to be very proud of your collection, and you need these to do that. In the comments below, I want us to vote, because I think Boss will watch this video, and I want us to vote about what we would like to see come next in the Waza Craft series. My vote is the first ever tap tempo delay pedal ever that they made. It's the DD5. This is a fantastic pedal. It was discontinued all too soon in my opinion, and I want to see that come back with a custom mod feature. Really, really cool. Also, if you've ever questioned any of these Boss pedals, like should I get them? Are they cool? I've seen the Waza Craft. Do they really stand up? They absolutely do. I have all these vintage units and tons more, and these are phenomenal. And in a lot of cases, as I shot these out today, I like the new ones better because that buffer really is improved. I didn't think the buffer had a problem, but now that I've played the Wazas, it really does add some clarity, and I love these custom features. So just go buy these. Go buy every one of them, just do it. You will not regret it because they're gonna make you love guitar. You can find all that info on the Boss website. That's all for today. Just hit like if you liked the episode, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to get notifications of future episodes. See ya.